So I don't really know where to start this video from. I've made different versions of it, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a stab. I didn't know where to start, so I thought maybe I should start from the video I made a few days ago. If you look, about 6 days ago through my videos, I have a video that I titled, PlayStation 5 Pro will red pill console gamers, many now considering PC, 6 days ago. This thing was almost like clockwork. You could read it before it even happened. Why? Console has given a lot of players, these new consoles, a taste of PC performance, what PC has always had. And not only did it give a taste to them, it gave them an emboldened sense where some of them felt that they became tech experts and they could basically jump into these conversations and start spewing nonsense. So when they bucked up to PC, they were about to kind of learn real fast that when you're bucking up against a PC, that PC is probably not going to be the same in like the next 2 minutes, because it's easy to upgrade and change up the game with like $50, and a PC is an entirely different machine. Now, you may think $50 is actually crazy when I say that, but let me show you something very interesting. You see, when I built what I call the console killer, this is something that basically is there to challenge anyone who may tell me that you cannot build a PC for $700 that will perform as well as a PS5. Brand new parts, by the way, $637. It beats the PS5. It's got a 6750 XT because we know what's in the PS5. It's got a Ryzen 5 5500, a 6-core processor that we know is going to smoke the Xbox Series X's CPU, which is better than the PS5. So you could just use the math and go with the scientific data and say, sure, this CPU is going to perform better. And again, it's a desktop CPU, so already it's got much better heat management. It's got a lot going for it. With $50, I can change this build into a juggernaut by simply going for a 5600X. This is a CPU that performs better and is right now not $80, but $124. It's actually very interesting how fast the thing could change. Look at it. The Ryzen 5 5600X for $50. You see it? Basically $44. You can pretty much make that thing a juggernaut. So as you said, your PS5 was this and this and this, or your PS5 Pro, the PC is like, I can match that energy very easily. Same socket, don't need to change anything. Trade in that other one or sell it to somebody and put maybe $50, $60, $70 and I have a better CPU than one that was better than the PS5. I thought about that paradigm. I said, okay, maybe that's one way to go. I also thought about showing you guys developer comments that are talking about how the PS5 Pro right now, even though it's a new device, it's still going to have the same limitations or similar limitations as the CPU. Because as many may be thinking that the new GPU computing capabilities are going to make a big difference, if a game is bottlenecked in the CPU, which many games are, and many games that actually need performance are, you're not going to see a lot in terms of that. So the price increase at $700 is not necessarily one that is good when you look at a price to performance ratio. It's actually absurd what they're asking for it. So I thought about all these things. I thought about showing you more misinformation out there on the internet with people continuing to say things like, oh, it's because of Xbox not competing that PlayStation is becoming so bold to give these consoles these price points, which is a lie, because PlayStation gave you guys a $300 Series S and you guys cursed it every day. You cursed it and cursed it and cursed it and cursed it to the point where people just thought that the thing was a calculator. They gave you a Series X and you cursed it and cursed it and mocked it, and people thought this console was irrelevant. If they would listen to all of you, they'd think this console was irrelevant. Then they gave you a refresh in the console, and then many of y'all claim that they're leaving the console business, that they're third party. When in reality, the reason you say they're third party is the exact same reason PlayStation is so-called not a third party, which is putting your games on other platforms. But it's not the same thing if you put your games on another person's console. Absolute horse dung. The amount of nonsense people have been spreading in order to just somehow cope and assimilate the lies that they've believed. Before I keep going, if you're the kind of person that's going to get easily offended, I recommend that you please, back away from the video. We're about to dive in, and I'm not going to hold back. I also don't want to hear any crying in the comment section. If you're going to, say something in the comment section, please bring some data, bring something technical to the conversation. And yes, I know that with my price comparisons, I'm using US pricing, but still, it's still very interesting to see how many people will still come out here and still talk about this price to performance thing, when in reality, if you wanted to go price to performance, it doesn't make any sense for the PC side. Now, what are you going to do about the PlayStation 5 Pro? Are you going to buy it? You might want to buy it. That's your choice. It's your prerogative. I'm not going to say don't buy it. Nah, why would I want to do that? I already made videos saying, hey, you might want to consider something else. Choose what you want to do with your money. However, here's something very fascinating. You don't need that much compute power to actually game. All that is in the PS5 is just, in my opinion, a hardware ruse. Simply because if you look at PlayStation 5's one of the most demanding games on PC, all you need is a GTX 1650 or an RX 5500 XT GPU, 4 gigs VRAM, by the way, 16 gigs of RAM, and a little bit of SSD space. So on the PC side, we're not even still playing along the same rules. Why is PlayStation giving you a more expensive hardware when they're just going to go make their games to be able to fit cheap hardware and to be able to play on cheap hardware? Now, many people may be looking at the GTX 1650 and say, well, it's not as good as a PS5. Well, we're not talking about that at this point, because there are many, 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 many more configurations in between these two. Thousands more possibilities that will all get the job done for cheaper. So once again, they're trying to play you. That's what they're trying to do. If you already have a PlayStation 5, you're already fine. Your hardware is already more powerful than what they require as the minimum for a PC player to play the games that they're selling you. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let's keep looking through PlayStation's library. Which game do you want to cite? God of War Ragnarok? No problem. Let's go ahead and let's see what Ragnarok is bringing to the table in terms of the requirements. It comes out in a few days. Look at what it's asking. A 1060, 6 gigs, or a 5500 XT, 8 gigs. 8 gigs of RAM. The Series S, 8 gigs of RAM, or a 2060. Components and parts that have gotten ancient in PC world. They're asking 2060. NVIDIA is talking 5080 and 5090. Generations have passed. And I see a lot of people mock people on PC. I've seen this one. This is another trend. It's so weird. People on console will mock people who buy expensive PC hardware. Do you not know what future proofing is? Future proofing is so you don't have to be doing refreshes every year. You just buy one hardware piece and use it for 15 years, if possible. Some people still think the 1080 Ti is like, old school and dead. No, the 1080 Ti is still alive and rocking and well, people. Let's not be fooled. I see a lot of content creators on the big space saying, well, this is a champion from back in the day. No. What they mean is this is a champion from back in the day compared to what we have now. However, the game developers are still happy if you have it, because they know they can sell you a game. They'll make a game that suits it, that will play on it very comfortably, so that you can give them money. At the end of the day, that is all that's for. This is why I tell everybody that I do not have my 4090 to game on. I'll play games on it just to kind of see how it performs, but that's not the reason I built a device in that class. I built it for game development, video production, and all kinds of crazy geeky crap that I want to do. It's not for gaming. It can game, but that's not why you use it for. That's not what you do with it. To game, you use something that is sensible within this category, and even this is already a lot of power for gaming. You can play 1080p here. You can play 1440, 1080p, beautiful way to play games. Some people mock and laugh at it. I don't. I got a 4090, but I like 1080. I got a 4K monitor. It's in a corner somewhere, but I like 1080 because it's just no problems with 1080. You don't have to be worrying about, checkerboarding and resolution. You can just go native. You could go up to 200 FPS if you want. All things considered. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically the exact same thing they did in 2020. Believe you me, it's not much different. It's not because Xbox isn't competing. It's not because, PlayStation thinks that. No, they didn't even give you games and they still did it. You're saying it's because Xbox is not competing. Xbox has games coming out, flowing out the wazoo. And some of you are saying it's because Xbox is not competing. Do you think we're stupid? Like the things that some of you say, do you really think that the people that are on the other side of it are dumb? You actually think that. That's what you think. But no, I'm sorry to say, but you cannot get away from under this. Many of the PlayStation fans have enabled this behavior from PlayStation. You've championed them to take every stance they could to make you think that they were, the best thing ever. They were money hatting games. You were like, yeah, okay. Well, hold on to this $700 device if you want. It's your choice. The information is there. The data is there. Leave these people on the internet that keep talking what they don't know. Go dial in. Google, YouTube, type it in. $500 gaming PC. Look at the performance. There's work to be done there. If these folk on the internet talking nonsense actually were able to do the research and do the work in knowing, they won't be able to make as much content as they did. The only difference is between most of us and them is we've done the hard work and the homework years previously. We've been looking at this whole thing in terms of hardware for a long time. They want to bypass all that body of knowledge and share moronic thoughts. We're not going to just sit back and let them do that. Why would we do that? That's what's being a moron. And they fool people as well into that same thing. No, it's unfair. So this video I made for those who are wanting to say, you know what? I'm done with this whole console thing. $700 will build you a PC. In fact, as the time continues to tick, by the time that PS5 Pro comes out, $700 will be able to build you way much better with the prospects of being able to just, with the snap of a finger, upgrade to whatever is next coming down the pipeline for very little, because those prices, they continue to come down. AMD has shown you guys real competition. And I'm going to make another video about it because these thoughts are just so much to put in one video. I just think I can do it in one video without going like 50 minutes. Thanks so much for watching the video. Peace out.